Okay, let me see. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is make.com. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna build it in the one that's already built so that we don't run into errors. So my whole thought process behind this was, for simplicity's sake, to use a Google Sheet. It it reads a new row, and then when it reads a new row, there's data in that Google Sheet. Um, uh, okay, I will try to find that in a sec. But the way that it works is that it reads from a Google Sheet, and it reads to the new row. So when you run it, it takes in all the data from from the new row, and from there it prompts the Gemini API. And in this case, it runs a prompt that we put in here, and then it just creates a new document to Google. So it's very simple and straightforward compared to the other times I've built it. Um, so as far as making a prompt, what I did is I went to ChatGPT, and over here in the top right, there's my GPTs and create. So I just pressed create to create like my own kind of ChatGPT bot, and I trained it on the Sancia data. So I told it exactly what I wanted and gave it examples of the blogs that we have. So if I ask for, it should give me a prompt back. Um, well, it's being really wordy right now. But regardless, so regardless, it'll give me a prompt, and like once you train it and it knows exactly how the structure of the blogs typically go. So not getting into make.com. So if I want to add a module, I'm gonna go to Google Sheets and watch new rows. And from there, my search path, search from all, and then I'll typically connect it. My spreadsheet ID will be the string of letters after the slash ID in a Google form. And then rows with headers, that depends on what type of data you're taking in. So for example, on the Google Sheet that I'm using, timestamp, topic, target audience, client name, URL, all this can be customizable. You could put, you can add a column, just, I need references that are 2023 and above, or I'm doing this on this specific, you can add any type of data. Since there's no agents that are taken in JSON in the past, there's variables, specific variables that are being passed. But in this case, just taking all the data from one row and just like shoving it into Gemini. And if you use a new enough model, it'll understand what to do and just create a blog off of that. So all you need for Google Sheets is to connect it up here, your spreadsheet ID, the rows with headers, and then the limit I typically sent to 1. And yeah. So then for the reason I use Gemini in this case is because they do have a free API call. So I believe Gemini 2.0 Flash. I have the pro version because I'm a student. It was free for students. And that gives me like free API calls, where as ChatGPT had to pay per. for Google Gemini, as far as setting it up, just text. Our thing is not set up for images, although you can set it up, but I was having trouble with that. Keep all these empty. And then you're gonna add, I believe it is a system prompt. Messages. So add messages. And then for role user parts, message type text, because it's gonna be taken in text. And then we will, so in this case, we are outputting from the Google Sheets. So for the message, the text that we put, what I would do when I was building this is I would screenshot this and paste it into the ChatGPT bot that we just made so that it understands what variables are coming from the Google Sheets. So it knows that there's a timestamp, a topic, a target audience, a client ID, and then it'll integrate that into the prompt that we have here so that everything is like referenced over correctly. So you put that in the text, you don't need to put a thought signature. And that is pretty much it for the Google Gemini part. And then for Google Docs, just create a new document. You could also do update document if you want to have the same one just being updated and you think it's gonna be a lot of clutter. But Google Docs pretty straightforward. Make a connection. And then for a name, you can create a column in here that would be like the name of whatever you want the blog to be. I didn't do it in this case because I was having some errors. But if you do create a new column, just make sure to update the prompt, and then you can pass it as a variable for this. If you like test, content will be the results from the Gemini. That's what this is. And then you'll choose a location for the folder, and that'll be pretty much it. So if you want to get technical or really like advanced with these blogs and everything, you'll add different types of like tests and verifications, meaning that rather than having like one, you'll have one create the schema, then you'll have one like read it and make sure that it's like it's accurate and matches the format. Then you'll have like another one that'll actually write the blog or plan it. Then you have another one make the references. So all different parts that'll all come together at the end. I know for me right now, make.com is a free resource and they do have a limit on daily, and so does Gemini have a limit on the API calls. But if you were to pay and go full out, you could have a bunch of different verification tests and really just make the whole thing super intuitive and detailed.
Yeah, no, thanks. Do you, I mean, compared to all these other tools, do you find this one kind of easier or?
Yes, I think once you make your first workflow, it becomes significantly easier. Like I know even for me with my experience, it took me like an hour and a half to really like understand everything and get it connected. But once I was able to get that connection, it became a lot easier to make these type of workflows. Because I used a program called N8N in the past, but that was more for I guess business. And when I say that I mean that like the one that I had built had like 40 connections all in one spreadsheet that was like, connecting to like different tables or different pages. So those are more detailed, whereas this is pretty much straightforward. And I understand that like at my work, when we're looking to make workflows, they were looking at make.com or Zapier because these are pretty publicly used. So a lot of applications will support either make.com or Zapier. I just found make.com to be easier to learn.
Yeah, I definitely, when I was playing around with it, I was like, I don't really think this is for my company. Like I'm kind of, I like just using all the tools, but like in my own little special, unique way.
Mhm.
And then it kind of comes out that way. You know, that's why people pay for me, like a small little business, you know, like just like a boutique. But
Mhm.
if this is like something that like a client would use, or, you know, if they needed to kind of churn out stuff, you know, like content. But but it does kind of, it always makes me nervous if I'm, using these things and like, I mean, people are talking now about like how AI written stuff is just so bad and stuff like that. But, and as soon as somebody says something, I immediately start fighting for the other side. So I'm like, it's not that bad, and like, just, you got to learn these things, but then, I don't know. It does kind of make you wonder.
Yeah, I know for me, I think the hallucinations are like a big problem right now still.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's when I was using Claude. I think I was telling Chase the other day. It's like kept saying, like, it was really easy peasy stuff like that. I was getting in like wrong. So I'm like, well, that's not good. But again, to Chase's point, because he did a lot of work on the prompting, and I think that's the prompting is kind of, maybe I was just going too fast. Like Chat GPT, you don't need to be so specific. It just gives you something. And Claude, it is a little bit like a PhD student. Like it just doesn't give you something. It asks you like 12,000 questions and then it gives you something, So, but the other thing is too, and then I can, Chase, if you have any questions, but like this blog, and I'll show even just in the, since Nyla wasn't here or is not here, but she did a really cool thing with the workflow. She's almost done here, but she just kind of did the same thing you guys did, but then each content stage, she kind of figured out like testing which one was good for each content stage. And then at the end, she actually did like a case study. She just tried it in real time. So like blog title ideation, she put in, I want to write a blog about how proteins power yeast, provide SEO friendly and engaging titles. And then she actually followed her own protocol, and then she got like this really good blog. I was just reading it a couple times. I'm like, that's actually not that bad. So, but she kept going from one tool to the next. Chat GPT to Claude, Perplexity, Claude, then her, then Chat GPT, Claude, Chat GPT. So I guess my question is, can you do that in like one of these apps?
Yes. I'll show my screen again. I didn't do it here because of the cost, but like Claude, if they yeah, they do support Claude. So create a prompt. So like for example, if you wanted it from a Google Sheet, connect it to Claude, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna do this for my reference. I'm gonna go to ChatGPT and use that to make the planner. So you can connect all these different AI tools. It's just kind of how much what model you want. And I think the thing was for me was just the API costs. They're minimal. They're minimal. It'll be like cents to the dollar.
Hmm.
But just if you're running like hundreds of tests, it is gonna add up.
Yeah. Yeah. Huh. All right. No, but that's really good to know. So maybe I changed my mind. Maybe I can use Make. If I can go from like one to another and like really define like specific prompts.
Mhm.
Because I think the prompting too, I felt like that was one thing I need to improve on as well, is really kind of like figuring out like what, like architecting like really good prompts.
That's why I think these like custom robots or GPTs are good for. Because if I'm like, oh, this is wrong, then I'll tell it. Then I'll paste like a conversation into the configure tab or the create tab, and it'll like remember and understand like exactly what you want. Kind of like you're kind of like building like a Lego, just like piece by piece with your conversations with it.
Oh, okay. Where's that again? Sorry. So
If you go to if you go to ChatGPT
yeah.
Um, open sidebar GPTs, and then create or my GPTs.
Okay.
We'll create a new one of the my GPTs, the ones you've made.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I'll try that. And then the other part is too, though, like SEO keywords, and like search and generative search and stuff like that. I guess you would just have to figure out kind of like put that in the prompt in there somehow.
Yeah, I think it'll be better if you break it down into different nodes so it doesn't get too confused. Like you figure out which LLM model is best for what and assign it each a task, and at the end have something just compile it together.
I'm gonna try that. Yeah, I'm
I think
totally gonna try that.
I think that's the best way.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, cool. Chase, do you have any questions?
No, I feel like I just need to go in and try it, like see when a problem arises, and then I'll figure it out.
Yeah, do you think I mean, do you think you'd ever use something like this?
I think I could, but I'm not sure until I try it, to be honest. But I definitely want to try it.
Yeah, yeah. I just don't know, like I mean, I'm just trying to think like how people are gonna like really integrate this stuff, like
I know this stuff is good for if I have a small, like, for example, if I have a barber shop, um or I guess a good example is like sales. So if I'm selling like a product, most people will hire someone to build a workflow, and in that case, it'll start with like an email, so you can connect it like to Gmail, or you could connect it like to a Google Sheets that has like a bunch of like potential clients. Then it can like connect to Gmail to send out an email based off the email and names, and you'll connect like a language learning model in the middle to create a response, like an email. And they also do follow-ups. They also get as complex as I forget the name of the application. Um, but like for Monday.com, you can have a bunch of different agents. I know a client of mine was using that because he has 30 AI agents that he's paid like thousands of dollars for someone to build. Um, or for smaller businesses, I forget the name, but you can connect it to like these type of applications that do calling. So they'll cold call someone and it's like an AI agent. Or if I have like a barber shop and you can automate the workflow to where if I get a call, like an AI agent will like answer and it's trained on your business. I think those are the real world applications that I've seen.
well that kind of makes sense. And I think that's what I've heard about in the market too. It's like all the customer service,
Mhm.
positions, which is kind of too bad, but I would be happy just to pick up the phone and like get an answer right away or like on like customer service stuff. But I do always think about people, you don't want to be eliminating these jobs without having something else. But um, yeah, sales, customer service, maybe research, uh,
Yeah.
you know,
I was thinking of trying to incorporate it into my club, like for designing. We're designing a prosthetic foot or transtibial prosthetic. Like if we could somehow maybe give it a design and it'll say like, okay, here are the parts you need. Here's where you would get them, or like here's the type of testing you need to do. Like something to where like it just kind of takes that middle work, makes it faster, so you can, I don't know, get the parts quicker, something like that.
Um, I mean, you totally could. I've never tried prompting with an image, but I think it'd be like the same type of deal where you'd probably paste into a Google sheet and like
Hmm.
here you're able to take in a text, you'd probably be able to take in like a file. Um, and generate a response. Again, you have to train. You have to make a prompt based on what type of response you want, and it'll take a little bit of work. But once you have a response you like, you can kind of do like a same simple thing. I'm a fan of making things simplistic before getting like complicated, because AI with the hallucinations and I don't know, they just like to make up stuff a lot.
Yeah.
But I like the way you're kind of approaching that. Like, what are steps that I do that are kind of laborious, you know? And like, how can you automate it and get rid of some of this stuff? And then, but then you have to ask the question, well, is it like really risky? Like, can we like risk that it's going to hallucinate, 10% of the time?
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking like in that situation, worst case is that maybe it takes me to a website that doesn't exist,
Yeah.
or it doesn't give me like the best option or the cheapest option, but that's not like end of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know. I think too, it's not just like then that not just the application, but just people using it like on a regular basis. I mean, I suppose once you get it set up, actually, can you do like a quick run just so you can see it? Or
Yes. I will just paste a new row and then just give it a run. Okay. I have exceeded my plan, so I can't run it steadily.
all right, in any case, you press run and then it just pops, then it goes to a Google Doc. It gives you the blog, and then how many it just takes like 20 seconds, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's
Like-
relatively fast.
Okay. I'm trying to think. Anyways, but yeah, so that like for me to do that properly takes 6 hours. And now this is doing it in 20 seconds.
Hmm.
So yeah,
Yes.
I don't know. Kind of crazy, but I kind of feel like the most important thing to do is just like figure out what like I always think of things as like I make friends with my competitor. Like, so I'm making friends with AI, just trying to understand so I can so we can kind of coexist. I mean, I've even done that at work. Like, I'm always friends with my competitors. And now, 10 years later, I don't even feel like I have a competitor. There's like nobody that does what I do. But that's because I kept working with people that were kind of similar,
Mhm.
And then you just like differentiated yourself. And now I'm like in this place where it's like, I don't even have a competitor. So I'm trying to do that with AI so I can survive.
Yeah.
Cool. So do you guys have any questions?
No.
Well, I know, Chase, we're going to talk. I still need to read your blog. Did you have any questions on that right now or?
No, it's pretty much done, or it is done. If you want to read over it. The only issue was the image, because I know you wanted a specific dimensions for that. I wasn't able to get that just because I think it was like Gemini 2.5, or like a Nano Banana or something like that. And the new one now, like it can't just like recreate it in the right aspect ratio. And then when I put it in Canvas to try to size it right, it just didn't look as good. So that's the only issue. But besides that, it's done.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, I'll take a look at it. I'm really looking forward to it because all the all the work and the hallucinations and but I'll definitely kind of double check, make sure I'm like, before we publish that, what we're saying is accurate. I'm sure it is, but just, from the AI side.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I'll look at that and then we meet on Friday. But I guess, Kyle, this is our last and final meeting.
Oh,
I know. I really, really appreciate your participating in this program. And I'm always really thankful for you guys. So anything I can do, and Chase, I'll say this again on Friday, but like anything I can always do, like if you need a reference or a connection on LinkedIn, or always stay in touch, because you never know, it's a small world. But I really appreciate it. I hope you guys get as much as this stuff out that I do, So, but I think we do. I mean, I've been looking at some of the other stuff that people do, and I'm like, that's, we're doing fine. But I'll send you like a certificate. I don't know. Do you guys get in college credit? I don't know. Well, Kyle, you wouldn't, but Chase, do you get college credit on this one?
I don't believe so.
No.
No.
Okay. Yeah, there's some course over at SDSU. I think it's business something. But anyways, I'll send you a certificate of completion. And then you have your documents, and that'll be on the website for years. So that'll just be kind of sitting there. Whenever you need it, you can send the link to somebody.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I know. Very cool. And I will, I'm publishing, I'm recording this, but